And joining me now is Kent Bacus, who is the Senior Director of International Trade for NCBA here in DC. You're the trade guy, Kent, and we just saw a nice piece about the promotion of U.S. beef in a Japanese market. Why is Japan so critical?
Well, Japan's our #1 export market. Last year, Japan was a $2 billion market for us, and you know, it accounts for about 25% of our overall exports. So it's got a significant presence as far as the impact on our prices and our ability to compete. I think the most important thing about the Japanese market is the potential it holds for us as well. You know, for many years we've faced significant barriers both on the tariff and non-tariff side. We've seen the non-tariff barriers come off, especially the BSE restrictions. As many people will remember, when we lost access in 2003, it took a long time to get it back. But even when we did have access to Japan, it was severely limited. We could only sell beef from cattle that were slaughtered under 21 months of age, and then that was increased to 30 months. So we've made some incremental advances, but that age restriction was lifted earlier this year. That left the only big remaining barrier was that 38.5% tariff. This recent announcement from President Trump, this trade agreement we're going to have with Japan, is going to put us on a level playing field, and it couldn't come at a better time for U.S. beef producers.
Yeah, it's great to be back in a market where I think we hold a big advantage, and it's important to remember that we have a lot of competitors from other countries that are providing beef, but we're providing the best. You know, there's other markets that our beef is wanted in, and there's always barriers that we talk about, specifically tariffs, but tariffs aren't the only barriers to other markets.
Yeah, tariffs get a lot of the attention simply because you can put a number to them. But most of the burdens that we face are actually on the non-tariff side, and they're these unscientific, in many ways unjustified barriers that are put in place across the world, and primarily for political reasons. Yeah, agriculture is usually one of the most protected markets and constituencies in countries all across the world. Japan has been a prime example of that, but we also face that in China as well. With China, we do face a significant tariff. You know, right now it's about 47% when you look at all of the retaliatory tariffs that are added together. But the real barrier to trade are those non-tariff barriers, the restrictions on our production technologies, such as hormones and beta agonists. The U.S. Meat Export Federation estimates that if we could remove those barriers, that China could be a $4 billion market for us in the next 5 years. So, you know, we've been working with the U.S. government, with our negotiators, trying to address those non-tariff barriers, because if we could open up that market, it would be a tremendous game changer for the U.S. beef industry.
Yeah, what a great opportunity. Let's hope we get some movement on that soon. You know, it's not just overseas, right here on the continent. Congress has been sitting on the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. Where do we stand on that?
Well, that's exactly right. The U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement is still a top priority for us. Essentially, it is an improvement on NAFTA. We like to call it NAFTA 2.0. It doesn't change any of the provisions for the U.S. beef industry. You know, the unrestricted duty-free access we've had to Canada and Mexico that have really made those two export markets two of our best and most loyal consumer bases in the world. So we're excited that there aren't any major changes that are there. But it does bring the rest of the U.S. economy, it brings the rest of all those trade terms into the 21st century and helps the entire U.S. economy. So this is something we need Congress to work on soon. The problem is that we're running out of time. We know that at the end of this year, we'll be in the middle of a presidential election year, and it's going to be very difficult for Congress to move on anything. We need Congress to take up and pass the USMCA this year, 2019. Can't put this off until tomorrow, because we need to send the message to the rest of the world that the U.S. is open for business and that we're going to negotiate for better market access terms for U.S. beef and other agricultural commodities. And we have a Congress that will stand behind those negotiated terms. So we need everyone out there to engage with their members of Congress and get them on board. We need them to move on this as soon as possible. Because quite frankly, if this gets pushed further into 2020, it could become the victim of election year politics, and we've seen what that's done before. So we want to avoid that altogether.
So basically, if you're watching, call your elected official right now and tell them to get this done.
That's exactly right. We have to act today.
Yeah, great. Well, Kent, thank you for all you do for producers. Thank you for being the trade guy here. There's a lot to talk about. Thanks for being our voice at the table.
Thank you.
Another reason to become an NCBA member is the chance to read the National Cattlemen. It's the official publication of NCBA and provides timely news and articles about the issues and events affecting the beef industry. A subscription is included free of charge when you become a member. Just call 866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org.